Hi everyone, how are you today? You know, everybody's always asking me about my haunted house. And it's true that for about the last 10 years, my daughters and I have lived in an apartment here on the north side of Chicago that definitely seems to have some residents other than ourselves. So, in honor of Halloween, I thought I would take you on a little tour of my haunted apartment. And it's a haunted little apartment, so there's not a lot to see. But it's kind of interesting. We have lived here, again, for about 10 years. And the cool thing about where we live, well, there's a lot of cool things about where we live. We live in the North Center neighborhood of Chicago. And my great uncle was actually one of the developers of the neighborhood. And he helped to develop a lot of the homes in this area. He was also an architect. And my mom actually lives in one of the houses that he built. We live in a 2-flat here in North Center. You can see our little dining room here. And ever since we moved in, we have had experiences of hearing someone walking through the dining room. We've heard the dining room chairs being crashed around by someone when there's no one here. We've also heard strange things happen in the kitchen. We have been sitting in the dining room and heard dishes just fall into the sink. There was one really strange occurrence. It was actually the day when I had seen The Right, starring Anthony Hopkins. And I was home and I was doing some work in the dining room. And there were a lot of dishes on this counter. And I had just dried them and I had left them there because I'm too lazy to put stuff away. And as I sat at the dining room table, all of these dishes I saw them just be swept off of the counter very violently. There was no cabinet here at the time, so they just got swept right against the wall. That was very shocking. I slept with the lights on for about a week after that happened. And of course I thought it has something to do with the movie. And I think there was some sort of, there was some sort of thread going around about that. People that saw The Right would have these strange things happen. So we've had a lot of experiences in the kitchen and here in our dining room. But the strangest thing that's happened is that this is something that none of us, not my daughters nor myself, have ever experienced. But of course, I'm a paranormal investigator and I have a lot of friends who are mediums, and we've had about a dozen mediums or clairvoyants over here for different parties over the years who have seen this woman in our apartment. And she's always seen in the exact same place. She's always seen here in the bathroom hallway. This is a little hallway outside of our bathroom between my daughter's room and my room. You see the bathroom here. And she is always seen standing right in this corner. Whenever people see her, they just are either standing in the kitchen or in the dining room. They happen to glance over and they see this woman, and she is described as about 70 years old with short, dark, gray hair and a long white nightgown, and she's just staring. Now again, my daughters and I have never seen her, and people who have seen her told us that she's just looking out for us, looking out for the place. The thing that I have experienced is of someone actually sitting on my bed. So I will come into my bedroom and straighten up, make my bed, and then I will leave the room and come back in, and it will look like someone had sat on the bed. So there'll be an indentation on the side of the bed. And this has happened countless times over the years that we have lived here. The neighbors who have heard me tell about the story of the woman who is seen here, they all think that this is the apparition or the entity of a woman who used to live here who died in the apartment. Her name is Helen. And she was actually the grandmother of our landlady who lives upstairs. And it's so strange because we always wonder, why isn't she up hanging out with her own family upstairs? Even has a great grandchild upstairs, but she always hangs around in here. And I guess it's an example of someone being just so attached to their own home that they don't want to leave. I always wonder too if perhaps she is an actor from the old movie studios here, because our apartment building was built on the old movie lot of Selig Studios, which was one of the great silent film studios in Chicago before that whole industry moved to Hollywood. And so that original studio building still exists on the corner. And again, we are actually built on the movie lot. So there would have been movies filmed right where I'm standing right now. And so I think one of these days I'm going to have some friends come over. I'm going to try to find out who this is. Maybe Colleen can come over and help us make some contact here. But so that's it. That's my little haunted apartment. And we've been very happy here, so haven't been disturbed too much. But again, we haven't seen what most people have seen here. So thank you so much for taking a look at my haunted house. And I wish you a very happy Halloween. I'm going to give you a pumpkin shot for the closer. There's my skeleton dude. And there's a pumpkin. See ya.